Alfred Willi Rudi Dutschke was the most prominent spokesperson of the German student movement of the 1960s. He advocated a long march through the institutions of power to create radical change from within government and society by becoming an integral part of the machinery. This was an idea he took up from his interpretation of Antonio Gramsci and the Frankfurt School of Critical Theory. Accordingly, the quote is often wrongfully attributed to Gramsci. In the 1970s he followed through on this idea by joining the nascent Green movement. He survived an assassination attempt by Joseph Bachmann in 1968, but died 12 years later from health problems caused by his injuries. Radical students blamed an anti-student campaign in the papers of the Axel Springer publishing empire for the assassination attempt. This led to attempts to blockade the distribution of Springer's newspapers all over Germany, which in turn led to major street battles in many German cities. Early life: Dutschke was born in Schöparagrafenfeld in the Third Reich. He attended school and graduated from the gymnasium there, but because he refused to join the army of the German Democratic Republic and convinced many of his fellow students to refuse as well, he was prevented from attending university in the GDR. He fled to West Berlin in August 1961, just one day before the Berlin Wall was built. He studied sociology at the Freie Universität Berlin under Richard Le Paragraphe Wengthal and Klaus Mischkat, where he became acquainted with alternative views of Marxism. Dutschke joined the German SDS Sozialistische Deutscher Studentenbund in 1965, and from that time on the SDS became the center of the student movement, growing very rapidly and organizing demonstrations against the war in Vietnam. He married the American Gretchen Klotz in 1966. They had 3 children. Dutschke's third child, 1980-born Rudi Merck Dutschke, was born after his father's death. He is a politician of the German Green Party as well as Dean's Office staffer of the Hertie School of Governance today. His older siblings are Hosea Che Dutschke and their sister Pauline Nicole, both born in 1968. Political views: influenced by critical theory, Rosa Luxemburg, and critical Marxists, and informed through his collaboration with fellow students from Africa and Latin America, Dutschke developed a theory and code of practice of social change via the practice of developing democracy in the process of revolutionizing society, collaborating with foreign students. Dutschke also advocated that the transformation of Western societies should go hand in hand with Third World liberation movements and with democratization in communist countries of Central and Eastern Europe. He was from a pious Lutheran family and his socialism had strongly Christian roots. He called Jesus Christ the greatest revolutionary, and in Easter 1963, he wrote that Jesus is risen. The decisive revolution in world history has happened, a revolution of all-conquering love. If people would fully receive this revealed love into their own existence, into the reality of the now, then the logic of insanity could no longer continue. Benno Unsorg's death in 1967 at the hands of German police pushed some in the student movement toward increasingly extremist violence and the formation of the Red Army faction. The violence against Dutschke further radicalized parts of the student movement into committing several bombings and murders. Dutschke rejected this direction and feared that it would harm or cause the dissolution of the student movement. Instead, he advocated a long march through the institutions of power to create radical change from within government and society by becoming an integral part of the machinery. The meaning of Dutschke's idea of a long march through the institutions is in fact highly contested. Most historians of '68 in West Germany understand it to mean advocating setting up an alternative society and recreating the institutions which were seen by Dutschke as beyond reform in their current state. It is highly unlikely Dutschke would have promoted change from within the parliamentary and judicial system, which were populated by former Nazis and political conservatives. This is made clear in the SDS reaction to the Kissinger-led CDU-SPD Grand Coalition and the authoritarian emergency laws they passed. Shooting and later life: on April 11, 1968, Dutschke was shot in the head by a young anti-communist, Joseph Bachmann. Dutschke survived the assassination attempt, and he and his family went to the United Kingdom in the hope that he could recuperate there. Dutschke and Bachmann would share correspondence over the next year, until Bachmann's suicide in 1970. Dutschke was accepted at Clare Hall, a graduate college at the University of Cambridge, to finish his degree in 1969, but in 1971 the Conservative government under Edward Heath expelled him and his family as an undesirable alien, who had engaged in subversive activity, causing a political storm in London. They then moved to Aarhus, Denmark, after Professor Johannes Lackey had offered him a job at the University of Aarhus, which made it possible for Dutschke to gain a Danish residence permit. Dutschke re-entered the German political scene after protests against the building of nuclear power plants activated a new movement in the mid-1970s. He also began working with dissidents opposing the communist governments in East Germany, Poland, Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia, including Robert Habermann, Wolf Biermann, Mihailo Petkovic, Milan Hora Infinitek, Adam Michnik, Ota Angström and more. Because of brain damage sustained in the assassination attempt, Dutschke continued to suffer health problems. He died on December 24, 1979 in Aarhus, Denmark. He had an epileptic seizure while in the bathtub and drowned. References in literature and music. The song Rot by Marcus Henrik features a mention of Dutschke, who can also be seen in the music video of the same. The song uses Dutschke as a reminder of political activism in Germany in the 60s and 70s. There's also a Finnish song about Rudi Dutschke, by Eero Ajanen. It is based on the lyrics of the song Drakejön of Rudi Dutschke by Wolf Biermann. Dutschke appears as Prussian nobleman turned anarchist Count Rudolf von Dutschke in the novel Warlord of the Air, the first part of Michael Moorcock's alternate history steampunk trilogy A Nomad of the Time Streams. Revolutionary socialist Count von Dutschke is close friends with the very aged Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov in Moorcock's alternate 1973 where World War I and the October Revolution never took place. In Harry Mulish's novel The Discovery of Heaven, Dutschke makes a cameo appearance at a political and musical happening in a chapter titled The Demons. Dutschke was portrayed by Sebastian Blomberg in the 2008 film Der Border Meienhof Komplex. Works: Dutschke, Rudi, Mein langer Marsch, Redden, Schriftnumtage 1/4 Share aus 20 Jahren, Hamburg, Delaware, Rowohlt. Dutschke, Rudi, Dutschke, Gretchen, ed., Jeder hat sein Leben ganz zu leben, Car Paragraph LN, DE, Kiepenhauenwich, ISBN 3-462-03224-0. Dutschke, Rudi, It is not easy to walk upright, TELOS. Bibliography, Dutschke, Gretchen, Wir hatten in Barbarisches, Paragraph Nes Leben, Car Paragraph LN, DE, Kiepenhauenwich, ISBN 3-462-02573-2. See also, Commune 1, Sozialistische Deutscher Studentenbund, the German Rudi Dutschke Wikipedia article Rudi Dutschke German Wikipedia. References. External links, Rudi Dutschke at the Internet Movie Database, Rudi Dutschke in the German National Library Catalogue, Dutschke, Rudi, D.E., German Historic Museum. Salvatore, Gaston, Lost in the Federal Republic, Scenes from Another Era, Dossier 1968, retrieved November 11, 2012.